Hey, welcome to yet another segment of Karel Life in Segments. This one, we're talking about money, honey. I am out here in Long Beach, California, my home. And sometimes you never know what's going on right beneath you. Right out there are oil islands. They've been there since the 60s. I've grown up around them. I never really thought much of them. Now, I find out that there's fracking going on underneath. I'm standing in a park right now. Do a little sweep of this park. I'm standing in a park right now that they just finished, and now they can't water it at all, and it's going to turn brown. Why? Because of the drought. So they spent tens of thousands redoing this park, and now it's going to die. And yet right behind me, on these oil islands, the fracking in 1 week is going to take more water than this park takes in a year. What the frack is going on under Long Beach and your city as well? Someone that's helping to fight that is the Chile, Elliot Gonzales. He's going to be talking now. He's with Stop Fracking Long Beach, correct? Come on in, I don't buy it, get up in here. You're with Stop Fracking Long Beach?
Yeah, absolutely. We've been around for actually only a couple of months, but so far we've really done a pretty good job at getting the word out. And
well, how do we get people to know that those islands are fracking?
That's what it's really about. That's why we're reaching out to the media, people like yourselves, and we're just trying to go talk to neighbors. We want everyone to learn.
You're standing on a bluff right now that's about 80 feet high, right?
Absolutely.
And they're fracking, and we can fall in.
People do yoga here, people do soccer. This is a really important part to our community.
It's going to fall in.
And that very much is a risk that there could be a seismic event, there could be an earthquake here. There are pipelines that go all the way from here to the city of Wilmington that could break anywhere.
And we could blow up.
It could all, absolutely.
If you look this way with the camera, you'll notice the busiest port in the world, the Port of Los Angeles, is right there. And Wilmington, the #3 producing oil field in the country, is right underneath me and this city. However, it's not just an issue for Long Beach, it's everywhere. We're going to go back to the house and talk more about fracking with Elliot.
Stronger, stronger together. Stronger, stronger together.
So, you know, when we have a large portion of our city budget coming from the oil industry, it's doubtful we're going to crack down on them, right?
Oh, that's correct. Bottom line, it's power.
And it almost made me think about moving. It really did. I thought, first they want me to cut back on water, and then they're fracking, and it's going to cause earthquakes. I kind of almost, but then I thought, where would you go? They're doing it everywhere.
I guess I'd have to find out exactly.
Would you ever move if you found out that they were really like fracking right under your house or whatever?
I'd have to consider.
Yeah, I would. I really would. Isn't that horrible?
I love Long Beach, you know.
I adore it.
I love Long Beach.
You know these oil islands out here, that's what they're doing now. They're fracking under them.
Yeah, but I'd ask, what is the ultimate purpose? Like, do we really...
To suck some little, just to get another $1 or 10 or 100 or whatever, you know? And no, I think we should all be solar and be moving past what fracking would be about, I think.
What's Mayor Garcia doing about it?
You don't really like earthquakes, right? I'm not a big fan. Are you a big fan?
No.
I'm not a big fan either. And the drought, we're hearing a lot about that, right?
Yes.
What if there's one issue going on about a quarter mile from here that affects both of those things?
I would like to know about it.
Are you aware that they're fracking under Long Beach?
No.
And that they have been since the 90s?
No.
And you know these little oil islands you see right here from the shore? They're fracking right there.
Well, there's a lot of things that we don't know, so.
Right, and in Long Beach we have several fault lines that run under our city, and the Texas Supreme Court just ruled that fracking does cause earthquakes. So as someone who lives here, I'm pretty concerned about them fracking under a city known for earthquakes. How do you feel about that?
Well, absolutely. The more information we have, the more prepared we can be. Well, I've been reading a lot about the fracking and about how they are exempt from things, and I think that they definitely need to be much more...
They want you to take a shorter shower while they can just do as much as they want.
Well, there definitely needs to be more restrictions on them also.
Right. Fair is fair.
I just think that what they're using for water is much greater than what the average person is using.
And I'm really concerned about the earthquakes. I am. You know, Long Beach used to slip 2 feet a year into the ocean until they figured out to put water back where they sucked out the oil, and that stopped us slipping in the 40s. And now we're pumping out this and we're shoving more water down in there, and we're breaking through the shale. I've lived here 36 years. I'm like, that just seems like it's increasing our chances.
Okay,
We're back at home at Park Howard in front of this giant map that I have of the world. Elliot Gonzales is here with us, and you met him down at the Bluffs where we were in front of the oil islands, which are actively fracking under Long Beach. I first noticed, Elliot, in the paper, the Orange County Weekly, they did a story, What the Frack is Happening Under Long Beach. In your city, you may not know it. They may be fracking under your city. I never thought about it, even though I sit on the second largest oil reserve in the country, the Wilmington oil fields. It's what Long Beach is on top of. So I was upset when I read that article, and this is Elliot. And Elliot, now you're 27, and you have been involved in environmental and sustainability for a while now.
Absolutely. I would say nearly a decade. When I was 19, I really started finding out about the severity of the drought, about global warming, the impact that the oil industry has in our everyday life, and I would say it's one of those things that once you start to find out, you just can't become.
Well, it's really pissed me off recently because we're now under this horrible drought and they're trying to tell us to do all these cutbacks and our lawns are going to be brown and everything. It's like, wait a minute, fracking in California alone uses more water than San Francisco and San Diego.
Absolutely.
So why should I take a shorter shower when they're out there doing something which we know it causes earthquakes. We know there's no more jury out on that, right? We know this, right? So it causes earthquakes. We know this. It uses a ton of water. We know this. It contaminates a lot of the groundwater.
Permanently.
Just forever. That we can't use it ever again. And yet it is not affected by the drought. The governor exempted the oil industry. That makes no sense to me, along with the earthquakes. Long Beach used to fall 2 feet every year back in the early days because of this oil field that we sit on. Then they discovered if you shove water in where you suck the oil out, that your city won't slip. Okay, so our city's sitting here on a whole bunch of holes filled with water already. Fracking, and this, if I'm correct, they shove water down into these overused wells that are not producing much anymore. Then that hydraulically, that pressure shoots everything up and they separate what's left of the oil and they throw the groundwater.
By creating cracks, fractures in the shale. So this is like deep rock that nothing really ever penetrates. And they use these chemicals that are basically acids. They're radioactive acids that are strong enough to melt rock.
Lovely.
And that's how they get whatever natural gas.
How does Thor feel about this? I'm not happy about it.
Absolutely.
And they're doing this under my city and under cities everywhere. Sure. My city has earthquakes and has existing faults.
We're on a fault line.
Why would they do that in a city that has existing faults in the middle of a drought? Why?
Well, the fact is they don't care. And I don't think anyone should be surprised. The oil industry does not care about you. They didn't care when they poisoned the Gulf of Mexico. They don't care that there's all this plastic that they're making. They don't care about the warming planet. But they don't care about a local community.
But does the city care when they get 5 to 10% of their budget from the oil industry?
I think it's one thing that they'd rather not talk about. And I think that's why we decided to make this a public campaign, because we don't care who is concerned about the financial industry. In our city, Robert Garcia, I love him, God bless him, one of the youngest mayors, openly gay. I adore him, I do. I love him. I want to pinch his little cheeks. But at the same time, he has not addressed fracking. And Absolutely. It's a big issue here in Long Beach, and he hasn't even talked about it. Yeah, I'm actually appointed by, I was reappointed by Robert Garcia, and I serve as an at-large position on the Sustainability Commission. So this is something that we have brought to his attention, and he has yet to really comment as to what his stance is. And most of the council members have been reluctant to speak on the issue, because you're right, you're talking about money. For us, just as local residents, we don't want to be the next community that has already been affected by
Let's talk millennials. You're young, you're 27. Is this something millennials care about?
I don't know what millennials care about. This is one
Me
millennial
neither.
that does. I think it's in our best interest. I mean, we are going to inherit this world.
But do you see when you have the rallies, and is it the older people, the 40 and above, or are young people energized about ending fracking, for instance?
I would say it's mixed. I would say they're a minority, unfortunately, but they are there. And a lot of people are realizing that we have to take action, and it's really not something that is restricted to an age, but it's something that is open for everybody, and we need more people to embrace this movement.
Well, and every state is now they're starting some sort of movement in every state. There's
Absolutely.
a Stop Fracking California, there's a Stop Fracking Texas, there's various organizations. You have Stop Fracking Long Beach. What I'm getting from you, I think, is that this is a Davy versus a Goliath.
Absolutely. We're talking about the oil industries. We're talking
Right.
about the people who still pump your gas. We're talking about an entire global economy that depends on an industry and a resource that we really don't need to be using.
So you're going to have to fight it state by state. In other words, if you can't beat this Goliath, then if enough people in each state organize, some cities have Beverly Hills you can't frack under, of course. But say what you will, but still, Beverly Hills said no fracking. So you can start with your own city and try to get something passed there.
Absolutely.
And then expand that out to your state. But this is going to be a local battle. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's local. It's on all levels. The statewide issue is something I'm really proud to be a part of as a local member because we're hearing the stories of
Where do the Democrats stand on this? Have they made a stance?
Well, it turns out the Democratic Party and the Republican Party are both accepting bribes from the oil industry. So
Surprise!
it's going to be up to the people. It's going to be up to the community to fill their town halls,
Right.
to go to their county, to go to Sacramento and tell Jerry Brown this is not something we want to risk anywhere.
Or any state seat that they have, no matter what state they're watching in. They
Absolutely.
need to make it known, because if you don't think that fracking affects you, go read about it.
Absolutely.
In Texas, the highest court in Texas said, yep, it causes earthquakes. When you got Texas going, yeah, this causes earthquakes. There's no debate on this except from the oil industry. It takes a precious resource, water. It pollutes what's left of the groundwater. It possibly will cause an earthquake in your area. And the rewards we don't need when we should be developing alternates to
And
the
that's
oil.
exactly what we're saying,
Right.
is that there is an alternative and it's been too long. If we are willing to risk our water supply, I think we have to consider the alternative.
By the way, everything in here, solar.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's great.
it's up on the roof.
And we need everybody to take that
I
initiative.
agree. Elliot Gonzales, you give me hope for the future. You're 27, you know your crap about fracking, you're interested in it. It is a huge issue to every city in America. It is one of the biggest issues facing America. It could destroy our groundwater, it could destroy our geology. Our cities could actually, other faults connect to other faults. I mean, The Rock may not be so far off in this San Andreas movie,
Absolutely.
So it's a great issue, so thanks so much.
Absolutely. And thank you for having me.
Oh, no worries. There's a lot of ways to entertain ourselves. Boy, do I know that. I'm all for a good book, and this is a great book, by the way. And I am certainly for sitting around and loving our kids. However, there's just no two ways about it. I am a fan of television. I love TV. That's why I've always wanted to be on it, and that's why I love watching it. However, what I don't love is paying a lot of money for it. This here is my mortgage payment. It's about $1,500. This is what the average family spends on cable TV a year. $1,500 that you're just handing over to the cable company saying, here, here, here. And you don't need to be. Now look, a lot of my friends think I watch way too much television, and I do it all without cable TV. All you need is the internet, Apple TV, or Chromecast, or Roku. I choose Apple TV, but Roku and Chromecast will work as well. HD Home Run from silicon dust to stream things to everywhere in your house, an outside HD antenna, and you can have over 120 channels, not to mention all the online content you want, basically for free. I'm gonna show you how, because I'm that magnanimous, and because when you're wrapped in this kind of luxury, you want to share the wealth. I know I need to nair, right? I mean, who could say? Who could? Ever since birth, I think we have an umbilical cord tied to the television in the form of the cable company. Most of us grew up with cable television in some form or another. Some of us even saw its advent. We have paid for that connection all these years. Thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. In fact, the average American now spends over $1,800 a year on cable television. Well, I'm here to tell you, there's a better way. All you need is the internet. You don't need anything else. The rest of the stuff is bupkis. I can show you how, with an internet connection, you can get 180 plus channels as well as all kinds of premium content right here on your TV. Let me tell you the crash course. Below me, there's always web information. There'll be information on the website about how to do this. First of all, you need 3 things. An antenna. You gotta get the free, absolutely free, high-def signal from the TV provider to your house. Go online, there's many websites, find out how far you are from your transmitters. If you're under 60 miles, you're golden. If you're within, let's say 15 miles, a little flat antenna, like this old jobby here, will do you just fine. I have this set up to this TV here, and it works just fine. This is made by Mohu. It's called a Leaf. Other manufacturers make these as well. You can pick them up at Best Buy, any other retail outlet that you want to go to, and of course online. They should cost you somewhere between $15 and $35, depending upon if they're amplified or not. And you might need an amplifier because you might live a little further away. Then there's this. Now this is good for 60 miles. It's an omnidirectional. It's made by Mohu as well. There are other manufacturers that make them. You can put this in your attic or on your roof. You can omnidirectional it, so you don't really have to point it that much. Do try to point it where you think the towers are. And then 180 channels or so are going to come streaming into your television, absolutely free of charge. Most TVs are smart TVs now. They have a coaxial input. This sends it coaxial out to your TV. You're golden. Now, what do you do if you want other content? Look behind me. This is Apple TV. Roku behaves the same way. Chromecast behaves the same way. Amazon makes another one that they all behave basically the same way, and they give you access to new content. Here on Apple TV, they're of course going to give you access to their iTunes movies and to their iTunes TV shows. With your regular remote, which you can program, I would then go through Apple TV. We have Netflix. We have the game-changing HBO Now. For $14.95 a month, I can have HBO without cable right here, just right now. Just click on it and away we go. If you already have a cable provider, you can get HBO this way as well as Showtime. Tastermade, that's free. CNN Go, if you need cable. Sky News, free. 24-hour news channel from England for free. ABC News, free. TED Talks, free. Do you get the point? There's a whole lot of free TV over here. Crackle, The Scene, Fusion, Daily Motion, free, 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 and free. Keep going. FYI, free. Vimeo, free. YouTube, free. It's all free, and it's all here. Apple TV, Roku, Chromecast, all of them unlock all of this free content right on your television. When you couple this with an antenna, there's no reason to pay for cable. There's simply no reason. And add in a little sneaky back here, HDMI cable. See it back here? Woo! That allows me to plug my computer directly into this TV, so anything I see online, I can watch here. With all of that choice, why would you pay for cable when there's this? Now, I gotta go because I've got to binge watch. And nothing says binge watching like good old Ion TV. Oh, and let's not forget Free Speech TV. Comes right up in the Roku, right up as a channel. Right there, you just choose it. Or you plug your TV up in it through your HDMI, and then there's Karel Life in Segments all up on your TV, anywhere in the world, without cable. Just an internet connection. All you need. So call your cable provider and say goodbye. And they'll go, what'd you say? And you'll say goodbye. And you'll say, what'd they say? And you'll say goodbye, goodbye. And then they'll try to stop you and you'll say, no, please don't try and stop me. Wave little hands and whisper, so long, dearie. I'm not gonna pay you anymore. And I won't discover that my life is dreary. There's so much free programming at my door. Cut the cable. and now I gotta go. I am behind on Criminal Minds. Oh my God, last night I started binge watching the Blue Bloods on the Netflix. I gotta finish that. And I just watched Marvel, the whole Daredevil thing. Free. Child, paying for cable. Please. It is the Karelcast. I am Karel. So very glad you are joining me. You know, the drought is starting to piss me off, and the sad part is it ain't going nowhere. So as my mom used to say, I'm gonna have to get glad in the very shoes I got mad in. What if I don't want to be wearing those shoes anymore? You know, every day I'm being told by my government, by my governor, by my state, I must cut back because I am the evil. You, ladies and gentlemen, are the evil. You are the reason we are in this mess in the first place, and because of you, you must pay. Now, there's no doubt there is a problem. 12 million trees. That's a lot of trees. That is like a beaver's wet dream. And 12 million trees are going to die or have died because of this drought. Now, what do you suppose that means? That means when the heats come, and oh, they are coming. Oh, the heats, they are a-coming. And when they come, we gonna bake, baby, and then we gonna shake, and then we gonna burn. Now, it sounds like Southern California is turning into an apocalyptic sort of place. So much so that Time magazine has suggested that we look to Australia for ways that we can start better handling our drought. The jury is in. We are basically having to terraform California to make sure that humans can stay living here. And the solutions that they're offering on a governmental level, I mean, out loud, these people are saying these things, and it's ridiculous. You know, Starbucks, they had this ethos water, the Starbucks. Oh, yes, the Starbucks child. They had the ethos water. Well, they were like bottling this water here in California. And a few people, myself included, a few people thought to themselves, you know, California is suffering this big drought. And Starbucks has a lot of, stores. That means a lot of bottled water. Now, why would you want to take water from a state that doesn't have any, bottle it up, and then send it out of the state? Doesn't make any kind of sense, does it? Well, Starbucks finally, and by the way, Starbucks, isn't that like a Seattle, Washington, based company where up that north, the Columbia River dumps billions of gallons of water a year just right out into the ocean? And, they're going to come and take our water. They're going to come and take California's water when up there in Washington, they got tons of water. Oh, hell no. So now they're not going to. That's gone. That's over. But that's, again, Starbucks wasn't the problem. The problem is that 80%, that's a lot. That's like up to here of me. Like this is 20% of me. I bet y'all thought I was going to say something else. But this is 20% of me. This is 80% of me. 80% of our water is taken by agriculture and oil. Oil, and I'm talking fracking. Oh, hail to the yes. The fracking takes the water. In fact, right here in my state, just my state alone, I don't know about your state. We can go online and check up on your state. But over here in my state, San Francisco and San Diego, those are two pretty big cities, aren't they? They both got Sans in their name. That's pretty cool. San Diego, and San Francisco. You could take all the water that those cities use, all of it, and you would not have as much as fracking uses. Now, what should we do? Ask the people in the state to have brown lawns. Look, I'm not for watering your lawn. Your lawn's stupid. Green grass, come on. We don't live in Ireland. We live in California, Southern California to be exact, or California now, period, end. And, we don't look like that. So your yard shouldn't look like that. Oh, there should be a couple, and that water should come from things like reclaimed water. How about that? Why don't I have a spigot out here? Well, over here for that matter. Why don't I have a spigot for reclaimed water? Why do I have to use the regular water? If I want to water the grass with reclaimed water, I will. But I can't. City doesn't give me that option, do they? Oh, no. So the little meager 20% that I use, they think I need to cut back on. Meanwhile, they can grow as many almonds and cauliflowers and dairy cows. You know how much water? 35 gallons a day. That's a lot of water for a dairy cow. 1 gallon of water per almond. This morning, I put 10 gallons of water in a breakfast drink. 10 gallons, because I put 10 little almonds. So the drought, the solution is not for the 20% to cut back. You know, we have this problem with solutions in our country. For instance, the economy. We know that the solution is not to ask more of the 99 because we're done. We're poked with a fork, we're through. It's to start asking for the 1% to pull more of their weight through taxation. We know that. It has to happen. Now, in drought-stricken California, the way is not to import more water. The way is not to build huge, enormous pipelines. That's not the way. And it's not to let 20% of the state, cut back beyond belief. That's not the way. The way is to say to business, you have to change the businesses you're doing. We no longer have the water to sustain you. We have to. We have to say to the oil industry, you're no longer exempt. If you can't frack because we're still going to, we're going to put restrictions on you, then, oh, well, guess you can't frack. Guess that's that. No fracking for you. Because quite frankly, I'd rather be able to drink the water coming out of the tap. And I think I'm a little more important than those frackers. I am Karel, and I'm not a fracker. I don't give a frack. Hey, it's Karel, and Karel Life in Segments is brought to you from the underwriting of FarmFreshFlowers.com, a local flower grower in Southern California. What's in the field today is at the door tomorrow. FarmFreshFlowers.com. Also, the Buena Vista Cafe. Located on Hyde Street in the Wharf in San Francisco, the Buena Vista is the birthplace of Irish coffee in the United States. The Buena Vista Cafe and thebuenavista.com. And of course, Cedarside. All natural flea and tick protection for you and your pet. Cedarside.com uses safe, effective Texas cedar oil for safe and effective flea and tick control for you and your pets. Cedarside.com.